wonder that in 2021, San Francisco issued only 2,000 permits for new homes. Sure, there are people living in the streets, but that's because we want to make sure the apartments they don't live in are perfect. I don't fear AI anymore because it couldn't possibly be any more robotic than the humans who run things now. I heard that California is overtaxed and overregulated. San Francisco, the city's so nice you'll step in poop twice. It's an area where homeless people were urinating and defecating, and it was starting to annoy the people breaking into cars. So the city tried to build a public toilet last year, but then gave up when the cost hit $1.7 million. Not $1.7 million for a public toilet system. $1.7 million for one toilet.
It's finally happening. Maher has called out Gavin Newsom for damaging California, and honestly, it's surprising. Maher has usually been a fan of the California governor and often defended the state in fiery rants. This time, Maher argues that Newsom's heavy regulations and high taxes are sinking California. The critique is sharp, sarcastic, and funny. So hit subscribe, get comfortable, and let's jump right in.
Vast network of regulators, administrators, inspectors, contract reviewers, project managers, fee assessors, special commissioners, zoning officers, and consultants whose jobs seem to be to make sure nothing ever happens and then charge you for it. The people who answer the phone, permit office, how may I hinder you?
Maher goes after the California government for constantly creating new agencies, offices, and task forces that rarely accomplish anything. Instead of fixing real issues, the state piles on more bureaucracy that slows progress to a halt. Anyone living in California knows how ridiculous it has become. Even fixing a garage door can become a bureaucratic mess. You may need 2 or 3 permits, each with forms, fees, inspections, and long delays. What should take one afternoon can stretch into weeks or months. That's the frustration Maher is venting about. His point isn't only inconvenience, but a system built to frustrate regular people while government keeps growing. The irony Maher points out is simple. The more agencies California adds, the worse things work, trapping residents in red tape instead of solutions.
It feels like San Francisco is actually proud of being impossible. Asked about the toilet, a spokesman for the Department of Public Works said, "We are a city of public input." Okay, but I'm stepping in public output. Meanwhile, the median time to get approval to build a house there is 627 days. That's 217 days longer than it took to build the Empire State Building. You need 87 permits, 15 from the Planning Commission, 26 from the Public Utilities Commission and the Fire Department, 19 from building inspectors, 17 from the Public Works, 10 related to public spaces, and 1 from a guy in a T-shirt that says Federal Boob Inspector.
You can see the insanity clearly in the permits needed just to build a house in San Francisco. What should be a simple building process becomes a brutal test of patience. Before construction even starts, builders must survive approvals, environmental reviews, neighborhood meetings, design boards, and compliance checks. Each permit adds fees, delays, and consultants, driving costs higher. By the time the permits are finished, nearly 80% of the total budget may already be gone. That's before a single brick is placed. Maher points to this as a major reason housing in San Francisco is insanely expensive. It's not only supply and demand, it's a system that makes building so costly and slow that only wealthy developers can afford it. The result is fewer homes, higher prices, and a city ordinary people can't afford.
15% of workers in America work for the government. That's 24 million people with one shared vision: to fine you if your mailbox is too big. They say a conservative is a liberal who just got mugged, but it could also be a liberal who just got cock-blocked trying to remodel a porch. Oh, yeah. Or got a parking ticket because their car was facing out instead of in. Last year, Wyoming began construction on the largest wind farm in North America that will power 2 million homes in Arizona, Nevada, and California. And to think it only took 18 years. Not to build it, to approve it. 18 backlogged, knuckle-dragging, pencil-pushing, thumb-twaddling, ball-scratching years.
Yep, it took an unbelievable 18 years to approve one project meant to bring wind power from Wyoming to California. Let that sink in. While politicians constantly talk about climate urgency, a clean energy project sat stuck in regulation for nearly 2 decades. That's 18 years of reviews, hearings, changes, lawsuits, and paperwork before construction could start. By the time approval arrived, technology had changed, costs had exploded, and momentum was gone. This is the contradiction Ma points out. Leaders talk endlessly about green energy, but oversee a system that makes building it painfully slow. Instead of speeding solutions, regulations choke them. If wind power takes 18 years to approve, it's fair to question whether the system solves problems or just delays them forever.
There's an area where homeless people were urinating and defecating, and it was starting to annoy the people breaking into cars. So the city tried to build a public toilet last year, but then gave up when the cost hit $1.7 million. Not $1.7 million for a public toilet system, $1.7 million for one toilet. And this wasn't some magic toilet that catches your phone when you drop it. So then a private company took pity on San Francisco and offered to build them their toilet for free. But after, quote, project management, construction management, architecture and engineering fees, permits, civic design review, surveys, contract preparation, and cost estimation.
Ma continues tearing into Newsom by bringing up the infamous public toilet fiasco in San Francisco. During Newsom's time, what was meant to be a simple fix for sanitation became a perfect example of government failure. Nearly $1 million was spent on consultants, planning, and administration. Architects were hired, committees formed, and reviews dragged on endlessly. After all that, Ma asks the obvious question. Was the toilet ever built? The answer is no. There wasn't a single working toilet to show for it. Ma uses this story to show how progressive leadership often spends money on process instead of results. It's not just wasteful, he argues. It's embarrassing. A city can spend a fortune talking about a toilet and still fail to deliver one.
Estimates that if the red tape could be cut in everything that's currently stuck in the renewable queue, the United States would be 80% zero carbon in 7 years. The enemy to clean air isn't just big oil, it's big permitting. It's not that America isn't able to get anything done, it's that we're not allowed to. Of course, there should be consideration of the environment on everything we build, but as so often happens on the left, they seem to have no ability to recognize when they've taken a concept way too far and are in fact hurting their own cause.
Bureaucracy exists in every state, both red and blue. But blue states like California seem to push it much further. Look at how California treats the oil industry. The state keeps adding new rules, taxes, and oversight that make business expensive and unpredictable. Governor Newsom even supported a windfall profits tax on oil companies to redistribute record earnings, on top of already high fees and compliance costs. Federal data shows California drivers pay some of the highest gas prices in the country, partly because strict environmental programs and taxes can add nearly $1 per gallon. Major refiners like Phillips 66 and Valero have announced shutdowns, or considered selling refineries, blaming the regulatory burden. These cases show how red tape and heavy taxes can scare away investment and reduce local energy production.
Become Gulliver, the giant that got tied down with 1,000 tiny ropes by Lilliputians, the horde of little people who do big damage. Build back better? Sounds good. So does shovel-ready jobs. Yeah, exactly. As Barack Obama once said, one of the biggest lessons he learned as president was there is no such thing as shovel-ready projects. Environmental impact statements used to be a few pages long. Now they're thousands of pages of legalistic nonsense and take an average of 4.5 years to complete, with thousands of bureaucrats filling out millions of paper forms that kill hundreds of forests to answer the question, is this good for the environment?
Ma tears into Newsom and other blue state governors with one of his sharpest metaphors yet, comparing them to Gulliver tied down by tiny ropes. Each regulation, agency, or rule seems small and harmless on its own, but together they become overwhelming. Maher's point is that these governors aren't trapped by one huge failure, but by thousands of small ones stacking up over time. Every new board, permit, and compliance rule adds another rope and another delay. Eventually, even powerful governments can't move. Instead of governing with flexibility and common sense, they become stuck in their own systems, unable to build, fix, or reform anything quickly. Maher uses this image to show how blue states, especially California, have let bureaucracy grow into paralysis. The result isn't progress, but stagnation dressed up as good intentions.
Living in the streets. But that's because we want to make sure the apartments they don't live in are perfect. I don't fear AI anymore because it couldn't possibly be any more robotic than the humans who run things now.
Maher argues that Gavin Newsom and his inner circle simply can't think differently when it comes to fixing California's bloated bureaucracy. Instead of confronting the system directly, they fall back on the same routine, create new agencies, add more rules, and promise reforms that never truly simplify anything. Maher's frustration is obvious. California doesn't lack ideas or resources. It lacks leaders willing to challenge their own system. Every issue is answered with more oversight, more task forces, and more regulations, making the state harder to run and more expensive to live in. According to Maher, Newsom and his allies live in a political bubble where bureaucracy equals progress. The outcome is gridlock. Major problems like housing, energy, and infrastructure stay unresolved, not because solutions don't exist, but because no one wants to cut the red tape.
Not that there was ever any reason to build it in the first place, and not that there would be any reason to do it again. But just as an exercise in realizing how far we've regressed as the can-do people, I think we should all try to imagine how it will go down if we tried to sculpt Mount Rushmore out of a mountain today. First, we'd have to make the mountain handicap accessible, so we could hire handicapped people to work on the side of a mountain. Then there'd be a 10-year delay while we studied the effect of construction noise on the mating habits of woodchucks. Then another 10 years to obtain ethically sourced dynamite and find a sculptor who doesn't only work from home. And then another 2 years to apologize for being on Indian land.
Maher mocks Gavin Newsom and his political peers by joking about what it would cost and how long it would take to build Mount Rushmore today. What was once a bold engineering project finished? With limited technology would now, Maher says, drown in environmental reviews, cultural studies, lawsuits, and endless hearings. The delay wouldn't come from stone or physics, but from paperwork. Costs would explode into the billions before carving even began. Committees would argue symbolism, activists would protest motives, and regulators would stall everything. Maher uses Mount Rushmore to show how modern leadership, especially in blue states, has lost the ability to build big projects. Instead of asking how to get things done, leaders obsess over process and compliance. The result is a culture where imagining bold ideas feels impossible, let alone completing them.
Regulations that aren't necessary. That aren't, I mean, you really don't believe that the state we live in, California, is lacking regulation. There's over 300,000 regulations. I mean,
Well, maybe they're needed.
They're not. When I tried to put in a garage door, I had to have 3 inspections. There should have been none. I should be allowed to change my garage door.
Are you kidding? Really? It was about a garage door?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that is...
No, you know this about California. Come
No,
on.
I don't.
Well,
I'm sorry, I don't.
You've never heard that California is overtaxed and overregulated? That we are a one-party state where there's sort of no checks on that sort of extreme leftism.
In the end, Maher's criticism of Gavin Newsom and blue state leadership goes deeper than jokes or viral clips. He's exposing a system that talks constantly about progress but rarely delivers results. From ridiculous permitting rules and endless bureaucracy to stalled energy projects and million-dollar toilets that never appear, the pattern is clear. California isn't lacking money, talent, or ambition. It's buried in red tape. Maher's frustration echoes what many residents quietly feel, a government focused more on process than problem solving. His Mount Rushmore example seals the argument. Today's leaders would debate and delay bold ideas into nothing. Whether Newsom admits it or not, the message is obvious. If leaders don't simplify and streamline, California's decline won't be a mystery. It will be self-inflicted. That wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.